Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be the start of a new series, a series that I would like to call Canon or Cannot. I will be discussing different aspects of the Crash Bandicoot series, and giving my opinion as to whether I think it is canon to the series or it cannot fit into continuity with the series. Episode 1, today's episode, we're going to be tackling the 100% epilogue of Crash Bandicoot 1. So with that all being said, let's just jump into it. So Papu's epilogue states, Papu sold the ruins of Castle Cortex to a resort developer. He then used the proceeds to open up a big and tall shop on the island. So for this one, we're going to look at two aspects. One, is there anything in any of the games that shows that Cortex doesn't have ownership of his castle and that it has been changed into a resort for people to go on vacation? And two, have we ever seen a big and tall shop on the island? So after Crash 1, we see the castle a couple times, and never do we see anyone going on vacation. It just seems like they fixed the castle in between games. You can see the castle here, and then we zoom in to the tower there. And inside the tower we have Dingodile and Engine, and then in another room there was Tiny and Cortex. So Cortex is still using this as a base. No development from a resort owner has occurred. And now for the big and tall shop. I searched high and low. I looked on all sorts of world maps, the island maps. I looked at beta. I even looked at like beta maps for Twinsanity. I looked all over the place, and I went through Totem Hokum on Twinsanity. I looked everywhere, looked high and low through the whole Cortex escort stage portion of it. And then when you actually get to Papu's village, and I could not find a single shop. Heck, even if it was just a little hut that said big and tall shop on it, I would have gladly accepted that. But unfortunately, nothing like that was visible on any of the maps, any of the games. So, we didn't see any resort developers, and we didn't see any big and tall shop on the island. So I deem this, in my opinion, cannot. It cannot fit into the continuity of the series. Then we move on to Ripperoos. It says, after intense therapy and 8 years of higher education, Dr. Roo went on to write a well-received book, Through the Eye of the Vortex, a study of rapid evolution and its consequences. So right off the bat, anyone who's familiar with the series knows that Ripperoo came back as a boss in Crash Bandicoot 2. Immediately when you warp into his arena, there is a picture of Ripperoo right there with his glasses and a wonderful graduation cap on his head. He has graduated college. We have him here with his mustache, his top hat, and his glasses. In Crash Bash, he also has this appearance too. The glasses, top hat, and the mustache, his Dr. Roo. And even as recent as Crash Bandicoot 4, we see Ripperoo again in his doctor form. His doctor persona. So we know that Ripperoo has graduated from college. And when you start the boss battle, he's reading a red book. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any text on it, but I like to believe that that is the book that Ripperoo wrote. I tried to look at the remake and the Insane Trilogy version of it, hoping to see any text on any of the books, but I couldn't see anything of the sort. So the only issue with this is it says after intense therapy and 8 years of higher education. Crash Bandicoot 2 is stated to happen 1 year after Crash Bandicoot 1. So there's no way that Ripperoo could have had 8 years of education in the span of 1 year. It's just mathematically impossible. So I'd like to think that Ripperoo did graduate and did write a book, but it didn't happen in 8 years. He did it in 1 year. So I deem this semi-canon. I know it takes multiple years to get your college degree, but this is a fictional world with anthropomorphic animal soldiers. So I think Ripperoo could have got his college degree and wrote a book within 1 year. So I deem it semi-canon. Now we move on to Koala Kong. It says, Koala Kong moved to Hollywood and landed a motion picture deal of universal proportions. Currently, he is working with a speech therapist to improve his diction. Is there anything in the series that backs up any of these claims? There are a few things, believe it or not. First off, we have this from Crash Bash. It is a picture of Koala Kong with a gold chain around his neck and sunglasses. And according to Pawn Shop Hero, it says he's a global star. But I know what you're saying, or what you're thinking anyway. This is from a Japanese ending, and we might not even think that's canon. So let's see, is there any other evidence to support this Hollywood theory? On the official Crash on the Run Twitter account, they posted this info card for Koala Kong. And under likes, it says, his muscles, Hollywood, and eucalyptus trees. So, Hollywood is listed as one of his likes. That doesn't confirm or deny that he was in Hollywood. It's just that he likes Hollywood. But this next tweet really confirms it for me. It says, Koala Kong dreams of becoming a Hollywood star. So there's multiple tiers of Hollywood and movie making. You could be in B movies, A movies, and then like blockbuster movies. So Koala Kong dreams of becoming a Hollywood star. Like, we're talking the billion-dollar movies. So, with that being said, he dreams of becoming a Hollywood star. But this epilogue says that he landed a motion picture deal of universal proportions, which would mean he already would be a Hollywood star. So, from what we've gathered from the info cards and that tweet about him wanting to become a Hollywood star, I think it's safe to assume that this is semi-canon, that he has been in movies, he's just hasn't hit it big yet. So he has not got a motion picture deal of universal proportions, but he has acted in some movies. Semi-canon, in my opinion. Now we move on to Pinstripe, Potaroo. It says, Pinstripe moved to Chicago, where he now owns and operates a citywide sanitation company. He is saving money for his upcoming gubernatorial campaign. So we know Pinstripe is a mafia guy. He's like the Don. He's the boss of the mafia. And what do we know about mafia guys? Industries that are usually allegedly owned by mafias are sanitation companies, restaurants, construction, and gambling. And what do we see over here on the far right of Hot Air Skyway, Pinstripe's level? We see a casino, gambling. So if Pinstripe is doing casino work and he is in a mafia, it's safe to assume that he would also have a sanitation company. So the only thing that might throw some people off as saying that he moved to Chicago, but you can move to a place and then move back. Just because he lives in Chicago currently, then he could easily come back to Australia. And then it says he's saving his money for the upcoming campaign. It never said he won. So I believe that this is our first canon. It could definitely fit. Now we move on to Dr. Embryo. It says, after the disappearance of his mentor, Dr. Nitris Brio rediscovered his first love, tending bar. So we know Brio. He's always mixing. He's a mixologist. Just look at him. This is going to be on loop while I'm explaining this. So my friend Jump Button claimed to me that he saw a tweet on the official Crash on the Run Twitter that claimed Brio has been working at the bar. And I went back and looked for it. I went through the whole history of the tweets and I couldn't find anything. But Jump Button wouldn't lie. So for whatever reason, that tweet was taken down. So just the fact that the Crash on the Run staff are saying that Brio in his off time is tending bars, that just confirms that the epilogue is canon. They brought it back up. They confirmed it. It is canon. And now we're going to move on to our last entry in this epilogue. The world has heard nothing more of Cortex since Crash foiled his plans, but evil geniuses are harder to squash than cockroaches. Literally, the world has heard nothing from Cortex since Crash foiled his plans. So after Crash foiled his plans and he fell down into the cave and found the crystals, he wasn't doing anything to the general public of the world. He was off in his space station with Dr. Engine. So the world heard nothing from Cortex for a whole year. But evil geniuses are harder to squash than cockroaches. Dr. Cortex has been in every single Crash Bandicoot game. He is one hard cockroach to squash. That is canon. So just a recap, we have the only one that has no continuity to it, cannot fit chronologically into the series, is Papu. Ripperoo and Koala Kong are both semi-canon in my opinion, and Pinstripe, Brio, and Cortex are 100% canon. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm going to try and tackle the Crash Team Racing epilogues in the next episode. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.